Hey guys, good morning. It is Monday, August the 4th. And I know I've been away for quite a while. My apologies for that. But I have some good reasons for that. As you will notice, you see my charts are a little bit different from what they used to look like before. These are several reasons. Firstly, I stopped trading ES, which you will see, and I also stopped using charts as a whole, as you probably noticed as well. Now, there are several reasons for this. The main reason being over the summertime, I got my ass handed to me by ES. Really, ES just fucking murdered me, to say the least. So what I did was I took a step back for a few weeks. I reassessed everything, and then I started thinking which markets would lead to profit, which markets could I see more clearly, and what was wrong with my style of trading. Now, as you know, my style of trading relied heavily on making levels and reading volume profiles. Now, I do still read volume profiles, guys. I do still read charts as a whole. I'll show you here. So I do still read my charts as a whole. I do still use the weekly and daily volume profile, but only in my analysis. The moment my analysis is done, which is not as deep as before anymore, but more centered on macro events, then I will just start looking at this. Now, for a bunch of people, this may look like Chinese or math. Well, it's not. It's actually much more clear way of looking into the market. You will notice that I have a few DOMs or depths of markets on my screens. And this is what is actually happening in the markets. If we look at a chart like this daily profile, it will tell us what has happened in the markets, but just as like driving a car with only looking in the rear view mirrors, you don't see what is in front of you. Now, these guys, these depths of market, these time and sales, they will show you what is happening in the now, in the real time, in the preferred market that you are trading, which makes a lot more sense to me than actually looking at past data and trying to see if somebody makes uses the same past data to base his trading references. So yeah, that is about it. So what do I trade now? I started focusing on the European markets, namely the bunds. So this is the bubble, the bund, Boxel, and these are the Eurostox 50. This one on the right here is the DAX. This is the V stocks, and this is the Schatz. And these are the times of sales for respectively these four markets. Now, do I watch them all at once? No, actually. My eyes are actually just centered right here in the middle. I'll show you. So my eyes are actually just centered right about here. Something like this. This is my field of vision. At least what I keep in my sights, and these all happen on the peripheral view. So if something happens here, or we get some big orders coming in on one of these two, I can see it right in my peripheral view. And this is like an overview. These are correlated markets that I try to look at to get an understanding of where the higher time frame is. So now, why did I start trading the Eurex markets? Well, first, because I'm European based. I live in Portugal. So this is actually a mighty fine time to trade the European markets because they open in the morning um, before I take my son to school or before I go get him from school. So that is a pretty obvious choice. While the New York Stock Exchange opens at 2:30 p.m. my time, which is actually pretty late, and so I can enjoy my afternoons in the Portuguese sun, which is a lot nicer. So why am I making these videos? Actually, it is why I'm making this video is actually because I wanted to show you that what I did for a long time worked, and trading ES worked for a really long time until, let's say, about March, April of 2025, when Trump got elected, and the VIX rose to about 60, I think, and the entire ES market collapsed. Now, what I've noticed is that a lot of market makers were actually leaving ES, and there's a lot more high frequency trading going on, which means a lot more volatility. And the order book became so thin that I could not trade it anymore. I didn't see it. I lost trading ES because it just went too fast for my style, and I didn't adapt very well. I could take some points off, but I actually traded break even for like 2 months, and then I had a big losing month. I think I made a video about that. So I needed to reassess, needed to look at what I did, because Einstein also said, if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect the same results, you're a fucking idiot. So I just started not doing the same thing over and over and over again. With this as a result, and actually I am quite happy trading this. It works. It's a very different style from what I used to do, but I did a lot of research and I came across this guy named John Grady from No BS Trading. I think I owe him a shout out. And his material is like 10 years old. You can find him on YouTube everywhere. But it's still pretty relevant. And the way he looks at the market was a really fresh insight to me, which made a lot of sense. And I did study his courses for a while, for a few weeks even. Did the course again, did the course again, did the basic course, did the intermediate course again. Took Kevin Talk trading. I took the Axia trading, which I did not like as much. I did the Futex trading, price ladder trading, which also felt really outdated. But Peter Davies from Jigsaw and John Grady from No BS Day Trading is what actually changed my mind about this. So I looked into a few other sources, and I must admit, after looking for a few weeks at these kind of depth of market, it all starts to click very, very fast. It's a different style of trading. It's a more context-bound style of looking at the market. So we are not looking at levels anymore, except for macro vision. But we are not looking at yesterday's levels. We are not looking at daily levels anymore. And it's a much faster paced style of trading, a much more focused style of trading. Like right now, when I'm doing these talks for you guys, it is impossible for me to trade this, because I will still need 110% of focus to make some money in the markets. And I do think that before that, when I was trading
Eastern time, get Swiss manufacturing.
When I was trading ES, that I was a little bit too nonchalant to certain of myself, just looking at one market and just thinking I could easily trade that. That was wrong, I think. So I've been doing this in my Discord. I also said I was taking a bit of a vacation, So I took, I think, 2 weeks of the charts, um, reinvented completely everything that I do, and started to look at these charts just 2 hours in every morning. To not strain my eyes too much, to not soak up too much of the information, and to make the transition as smooth as possible. So this is my last week of sim trading this. Next week I will be going live with this, and I will be sharing, I hope, if I can remember, I will be sharing daily updates with you guys on this and on this system, which is yeah, actually more of a contextual style of trading. So as I was explaining, what we are looking for, what I am looking for actually every day, is the interaction, the pure interaction and the manipulation of buyers versus sellers. And now I found out with just watching this for a very long time that mostly, and I'm speaking now for the Eurex markets. So once again, this is Bubble, Bund, and this is the Buxel. The Buxel is pretty volatile. The Bund is more of a steady trading, like ES was when I started out on ES. It actually moves a little bit the same way, um, which I am used to, which I like a lot. I've always traded with DOM, but I never traded DOM only. So for me, this is a big step forward. And contextual, what you want to see is that these are bonds. So if stocks, I'm going to simplify it really, really, really hard now. But if stocks fail, so if the DAX fails, if the Euro stocks fails, which means the risk is off, then there will be more money put into these three bonds. So which means these likely tend to go on to go up. Now also this one, the Schatz, is my barometer. So if this one is at the top, I expect these three to also be at the top or to get at the top. And therefore I use a few different strategies than I used before. I use correlation strategies and I use order strategies. So what I am actually looking for is not the bulls fighting with the bears, if that makes sense, because that never made sense to me. If the let's say the bulls are pushing and the bears are pushing here, then there is no equilibrium here. So I never trusted that explanation. So what I'm looking for now is actually manipulation from the same guys. So let's say I have a really nice screenshot somewhere here. I think, no, it's not this one. It must be here. Yeah. Nope. It's this one. So let's say what we saw here. Was we have these guys in this market. This market is the Bund. We saw them buying at market while they are putting buy limits here. So actually this is probably one guy or one firm that is driving the market higher. He's placing market orders here and he's holding these markets up by putting limit orders as a defense right here. And yes, afterwards we get a nice little reversal. So I'm not looking at bulls versus bears anymore. I'm looking at manipulation. Also, we can have manipulation on the bid and ask side as well, which probably is just the same player who is holding a market up here and then smacking it down on the offer again. So as I told you, it's a really different type of trading. Now, as far as entries go, my entries are more based on Gary Norden. Another shout out to that man, which is, I think it's some sort of beautiful entry type if you understand what he's trying to say. So what we do as entries is we are going to use their liquidity against them. So we want to time our bid and ask entries, like pushing ourselves in between the queue, like seeing where the numbers are and trying to fit in the queue and trying to get out of the queue at really good moments. But we'll go deeper in that in some next episodes. So, guys, I'm going to keep this actually very short. This was more like an introduction. Now, the past upcoming days, this week, we will trade this sim. I will trade this still in sim, and next week I will take this live, and you can start following my journey. As always, I do like to share. So that's about it, guys. I wish you a very fun week, and I will try to make as much videos about this as possible. Have a very, very good week. Ciao.